For most of my life, being in my family felt like dragging a boulder. I just never realized how heavy it was until they tried to steal my daughter's name. I still have Grandma Rose's last letter. The paper is brittle now, the ink is faded, but I don't need to read it. I know exactly what it says. Especially the last part, the PS that was just for me. A secret. A promise. It's funny you don't realize how tilted your world is when you grow up in it. It's like living in a house built on a 5-degree slant. You get used to leaning all the time, just to stay upright, and you forget what solid ground feels like. In our house, the ground always tilted towards my sister, Clara. Clara was the sun. It's the simplest way I can put it. Everyone and everything just orbited her. It wasn't even her fault, not really. It's just how it was. A crayon drawing she did at 6 years old? Framed. In the main hallway. My academic awards, my debate trophies, they got a distracted, "Oh, that's nice, honey, put it on the shelf." Hers were events, mine were just inventory. She was born in a spotlight. I learned to read by the light spilling from under her door. My solid ground, my only solid ground, was Grandma Rose's armchair in the corner of the living room. That was my sanctuary. She didn't just see me. She watched me. She listened. She smelled of lemon bread and Earl Grey tea, and her hands were the steadiest thing in my life. She was the one who told me my quiet wasn't a flaw. "You see things the loud ones miss," she'd say, stirring her tea, the spoon making that little clink, clink, clink against the cup. And she was the one who warned me. Gently. "Some people, sweet girl," she said one afternoon, looking at something far away, "are so empty inside they have to take pieces from other people to feel whole. Don't you ever let them take the pieces that are truly yours." When she died, the house lost its center, for me at least. My parents mourned. Clara cried for about a day, and then, the tilt just snapped back into place. All she left me was a small, worn-out silver locket, worthless to anyone else. The clasp was loose, it was tarnished, but inside, in a space no bigger than my thumbnail, was a tiny, folded piece of paper, and on it, in her spidery handwriting, was one word: Palmer. Her maiden name. The name of the woman she was before she became a wife, before she became a mother, in a family that, I was starting to realize, took her for granted just as much as they did me. It was our secret. Her piece of history that was mine. Years later I saw those 2 pink lines, then the flickering heartbeat on that grainy screen. And I just knew. A girl. It had to be a girl. And I knew her name. There was no other choice. Rose. But not just Rose. Rose Palmer. A name that held every quiet afternoon, every shared secret, every bit of strength that was mine. And then I did something stupid. I got hopeful. My mother came over, and I was so full of this quiet joy. I wanted to share it. I wanted that movie moment. So I showed her the ultrasound picture. I whispered the name. Rose Palmer. Her eyes filled with tears. She squeezed my hand and it felt real. "Oh honey, it's perfect." She would have loved that so much. For one stupid, beautiful, treacherous second, I believed her. I let myself feel like a daughter. The shift was subtle, at first. Clara was also pregnant, just a month ahead of me. Suddenly, she was fascinated with heirloom names. My mother would call, her voice all breezy and casual. Too casual. It was a tell I'd learned long ago. "You know," she'd say, "Clara was asking about classic names. I might have mentioned Rose." It's just so lovely, isn't it? Every call was a little test, a little probe. I could feel the heat in my chest, that sick familiar knot in my stomach. Her casual tone was a weapon, designed to make any protest from me sound like I was hysterical. Then the text started. From an aunt. A cousin. "So cool you and Clara are both thinking of Rose. Twinning. So cute. Twinning. That word. It cracked everything. My private sacred thing, the one piece of my grandmother that was just mine, was being turned into a cute family story. I wasn't a person. I was the first half of a matching set. I finally called my mother. I didn't even say hello. You told her. The warmth on the other end of the line just vanished. A cold silence. Then her voice, sharp as glass. Don't be so selfish. A name doesn't belong to anyone. Clara loves it, and frankly, her husband's family thinks it's a wonderful tribute. Tribute to who? The words just fell out of my mouth, shaking. She barely knew her. This isn't about a tribute, Mum. This is about my connection to her. The one I told you about, your sister, she said, her voice flipping a switch from cold to concerned in a split second, is having a very difficult pregnancy. She needs our support, not all this drama from you. And there it was. The family mission statement. Clara's needs are a 5-alarm fire. Mine are an inconvenience. Drama. I hung up. Not because the conversation was over, but because it was the same conversation we'd been having my entire life. I should have been prepared. I wasn't. The announcement wasn't a phone call. That would have meant a confrontation. No, it came the way everything in my sister's life came, as a public performance. I was scrolling Instagram, and then I saw it. A perfect professional photo. Clara, looking angelic in a hospital bed, holding a tiny baby. My parents on either side of her, beaming. The photo was beautiful. But the caption that was written by my brother-in-law, and it felt like a public execution of something I held sacred. Welcome to the world, Rose Palmer Davis. You have your mother's eyes, and a name that honors the most incredible woman we all knew and loved. Rose Palmer. I read it again. It wasn't just the name, it was Palmer. They had taken the secret, they had reached into the locket, into my memory, and broadcast it to the world as their own. They took the one piece of my grandmother that was meant for me, and used it as a prop in Clara's perfect life. It wasn't a tribute, it was a conquest. A final statement that nothing I had was ever really mine if they wanted it. They didn't just cross a line, they took the whole map of our relationship and just burned it. All of it. I didn't scream, I didn't throw my phone, I just stared. The faces, the smiling, triumphant faces, just blurred. I wasn't angry, not yet, it was just nothing. A hollow, quiet, empty nothing, and in that quiet, one thought became perfectly clear. They are not my family. I sat there for maybe a minute. Then, with a calm that didn't feel like my own, I opened my contacts. My mother. Tap. Block. Confirm. My father. Tap. Block. Confirm. Clara. Tap. Block. Confirm. I went through my phone, archiving every photo, deleting every text, until my family history was a blank page. It wasn't rage. It felt necessary. Like cutting something off that was making me sick. The silence that came after was deafening. And then, it was peace. A month later, my daughter was born. In that quiet room, just the beep of the monitor and my husband's hand in mine, I looked at her, and the tilted house and everyone in it just disappeared. A week later, we sent out one card, a photo of our daughter in a soft yellowed blanket that had been my grandmother's. The card had 3 words. Introducing Palmer. Just Palmer. The frantic calls from blocked numbers started. The emails with urgent subject lines went straight to spam. Eventually my dad showed up at my door. I saw his car and felt nothing. I met him on the porch, closing the door behind me, a barrier. He looked older. What have you done? He asked. Your mother is a wreck. You're tearing this family apart over a name. I looked at him. Really looked at him. And I saw a stranger. You're wrong, I said, and my voice was steady. It was the voice of someone standing on solid ground. There was no family left to tear apart. You all made that clear when you stole my daughter's name to give Clara another trophy. You took the one sacred thing I had. I'm not the one who broke it. I took a breath. My daughter, I said, is named for the woman Grandma Rose was before any of you. She will be strong, she will be independent, and she will be free of this. Now, please get off my property. Closing the door on his face wasn't anger. It was an act of preservation, the final click of a lock. And the guilt I had carried my whole life for just existing, it was gone. Now, in the middle of the night when I rock my daughter, I tell her stories. about her great-grandmother, a woman of quiet power, a woman who gave her a legacy, our legacy. And it's the one thing they can never touch. If you've ever had something precious dismissed as drama by your family, I want to hear your story below.